Again, unpacking the future. Will gaming's biggest flops ever resurface? Remember Anthem? Crucible? Games that promised everything and burned hundreds of millions of dollars doing it. These weren't just bad launches. They were $100 million to $300 million catastrophes that reshaped publisher strategy overnight. And yet, every few years, gamers repeat the same myth. What if they came back? Let's be honest, most of it shouldn't. Because when a game dies at this scale, it doesn't get revived. It becomes a warning label. Gaming's graveyard is full of revisionist history. Take Anthem. 6 years of development, multiple reboots, a 10-year live service plan. EA and BioWare reportedly poured well over $100 million into it. And what launched in 2019 barely survived 30 days before the player base collapsed. Broken Loop. No endgame. A roadmap that vanished in under 90 days. Anthem didn't fail because of bugs. It failed because no one was steering the ship. Then there's Crucible. Amazon reportedly spent $50 to $70 million. Shadow dropped the game and pulled it offline in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That's not a flop. That's a corporate write-off. And here's the hard truth most gamers avoid. These games weren't unfinished. They were fundamentally broken at the design level. Now this is where Cyberpunk2077 enters the conversation, and where things get dangerous. Because Cyberpunk didn't just fail, it rewrote expectations. CD Projekt Red spent 8+ years developing it, launched in 2020, sold 13 million copies, and still managed to destroy its reputation overnight. Refunds, console removals, stock price collapse. Cyberpunk became the poster child for never pre-order again. And yet it survived. Over 3 years, CDPR poured hundreds of millions more into fixes, overhauls, and expansions. Patch after patch, system reworks, and eventually, Phantom Liberty. Today, people call Cyberpunk a redemption story. Here's the hot take. Cyberpunk didn't survive because redemption is easy. It survived because it had infinite money, massive sales, and a fan base big enough to justify the burn rate. That is not normal. And this is where gamers get it wrong. Cyberpunk is the exception, not the blueprint. CDPR could afford to fix Cyberpunk because it already made billions. It owned the IP. It had goodwill built over a decade. Anthem didn't have that luxury. Crucible never even had a chance. And Anthem next? It died because the math didn't work. Another $50 to $100 million investment just to maybe recover 10 to 20% of the audience? That's not redemption. That's financial malpractice. Here's the part no one likes to hear. Reviving a dead live service game means reassembling a 100 to 300 person dev team, paying millions per year in server and infrastructure costs, marketing to players who already left negative reviews. Best case, you trend on social media for 48 hours. Worst case, you become a meme. Again, that's reputational debt. Once players decide a game is a joke, no patch fixes that. Cyberpunk barely escaped that fate, and it cost years and hundreds of millions to do it. So why does the industry keep chasing second chances? Because abandoning a $200 million failure hurts more than starting fresh. Because developers don't want their careers defined by one disaster. And because publishers see Cyberpunk and think, what if we can do that too? Here's the brutal reality. Most studios can't. The industry doesn't resurrect games. It harvests them. Anthem's movement system, you'll see it again in a better game. Crucible's design experiments, already recycled. Cyberpunk didn't save flaws. It raised the bar for how expensive redemption has to be. So here's what the industry actually learned. Live service promises are worthless. Roadmaps are marketing fiction. And we'll fix it later died after 2020. Players burn trust instantly now. Rebuilding it costs years and 9-figure budgets. Most flops won't return. And financially, they shouldn't. But their ideas, their tech, their mistakes, those will define the next generation of games. So let's end on this. Which failed game do you think deserved another $100 million plus chance? And which one was dead the moment it launched? Drop your take in the comments. If you're wrong, the internet will correct you. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Be on the lookout.